Hey everybody, welcome to Culture Doom. This is episode 403. I'm one of your ho-ho hosts. My name is Brendan.
And I'm your other ho-ho-ho-ho-ho hosts. My name is Alex.
Oh, he's trying to outdo me.
My poofy is... There's my poof ball.
We're going to have to work on your background. Although you like your rotating backgrounds.
I like my rotating background. We are enjoying, since you can tell it's the Main Street, USA at Disneyland. We've got the Christmas motif because it's Christmas time.
Yeah, well, it's the office Christmas party. Thanks for coming on down, everybody, to the office Christmas party. We got some festivities to share with you.
Yeah, I was going to be at the office today, but I called in sick, then I remembered, it's the office Christmas party this evening, and Donna's going to be there, and Donna loves her schnapps, so I didn't even dress up or anything. I just came wearing what I was wearing today.
Peppermint schnapps.
Peppermint schnapps.
Yeah, it's funny though. Looking at your background, I'm picturing It's the difference between the digital background and a practical background. Alex went with the George Lucas School of Decorating.
I might have gone a little far in some places, but I'm enjoying. I'm broadcast. Actually, I am broadcasting live from Disneyland. It's closed currently, so I have to be quiet. You know, the cleaning crews are coming around here, so I got to see Princess Belle earlier tonight, and Moana was here, and Mike and Sully from Monsters Inc. I had a great day. It was wonderful.
Have you had...
Fat person got stuck on the monorail.
You're such a weirdo.
I know.
Have you had your Christmas party yet? At work?
We did
the office?
On Tuesday.
Okay. Or excuse me.
Yeah.
Holiday party.
That's Christmas.
You work for a public organization. You guys don't have
a public organization.
You guys don't have Christmas parties.
We have holiday parties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What did you guys do?
It was just like a luncheon buffet at a local restaurant that I probably wouldn't normally go to because it's in the downtown area of Champaign, and I haven't set foot in there since we moved to Philo.
How long is this luncheon?
It was 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
And,
so it's decent.
Well, here's a problem. After the first 45 minutes, you're kind of like, what are we going to do? Are there games? Is there entertainment? What's happening? Oh, we're just going to sit around chit chat with each other. Okay.
You love your coworkers.
Some of them. Some of you guys are all right. Some of you.
Well, hopefully this Christmas party will be more to your liking.
I can drink too.
Oh yeah? What are you drinking tonight?
I am finishing up the final amount of that.
Some technical difficulties.
That final bottle of Anak.
The smoky Anak.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I got at least 2 drams worth.
Well, I'm sorry that I can't pour for you, make a hot toddy for you. That's what I'm enjoying this evening, at least to start with, because I can't make it. Takes too long to make. So once I finish my hot toddy, which is I went for I've been working on hot toddy recipes for 3 years, and I think I've come to the version that I enjoy the most.
Is it a recipe that you got from someplace, or are you just kind of going with one and just doctoring it as time goes on?
I've doctored it as time has gone on, because you start with the original hot toddy is a very basic drink where it's just kind of hot water, lemon, sugar, and whatever kind of whiskey, scotch, or bourbon, or whatever in it that you want. And it's fine, but it's a little dull.
What kind of scotch do you just use? Like a blended scotch?
Well, I don't use scotch.
Okay.
Because I feel like scotch is almost too, unless you're using really bottom of the barrel stuff. But some of it's just
Famous Grouse.
Yeah, Famous Grouse would be okay. Hanky Bannister would be okay, but
Hanky would that would be pretty. I mean,
Hanky Bannister is cheaper than.
I would go Dewar's.
I mean, Hanky Bannister was cheaper than Famous Grouse.
Yeah, and better quality too. So yeah, maybe Hanky Bannister, but when
Bannister's like $20 bottle. I'm using Old Forester at the moment.
Wow, look at that. Sponsorship money.
Yeah, right, exactly. Because I like bourbon in these because I like it as a spicy kind of winter drink. So the bourbon has some spice to it and some sweetness to it that I think really goes well. But if you like Scotch, then use Scotch. But so I've settled on like using tea instead of just hot water. Got some honey, some simple syrup, some
What kind
allspice.
of tea do you go with?
Oh, just black Lipton.
Black tea.
Yeah. I mean, you could use like a
Earl Grey?
English.
Or like an English breakfast tea?
I wouldn't be against using Earl Grey, but that's a very different flavor then. You know what I mean?
Would you use Earl Grey hot?
Alex has had a topic that he's been wanting to talk about for 2 weeks, and he keeps trying to talk
Patrick Stewart.
Yes, exactly.
Nobody wants to talk about Patrick Stewart.
Nobody
quite
wants to talk
frankly.
about it. But yeah, I had my office Christmas party a couple of days ago, and it was. But we go hard and we go after hours.
Yeah,
so,
that floor.
Yeah,
That floor must have been pretty hard too.
Nobody saw this because we were walking to another bar, and
okay, bar
once
crawl party. Nice.
once the place we were at the beginning and everybody kind of left, there was a group of us who were like, we're still going, and I was getting irritated because nobody was moving, so I kind of took the initiative to walk away on my own. And so I had like turned the corner, and all of a sudden I hear people yelling my name. So I come back and I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "We're gonna get an Uber. You don't have to walk." So I started walking back, and luckily they all looked away because if they hadn't, they would have just seen me fall, like just completely disappear behind a car, because there was like It wasn't because I was drunk. I was. It was because there was the sidewalk was not level.
Oh, kind of buckled?
Yeah, it had buckled, and there was like a big lip. So I tripped over that, and I still my hands. You can kind of see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can tell. Like you got a little
it's a
little stuff on your right hand.
Yeah, both
I can
of
tell.
them. See?
Stigmata.
Yeah. Oh. Wrong holiday.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Yeah. So I just kind of like was like whoop, and I immediately jumped back up because I didn't want anyone to think that I fell over because I was drunk.
That's good reaction time for your age.
Yeah, I was. I'm not.
You know, if the sidewalk's buckled, I mean, they could just do like jack a slab and
I was just glad I didn't
fixed up and stuff like that.
I was just glad I didn't face plant.
Yeah, that would be worse. Like
Yeah.
Erica face planted one time when she was drunk with a friend of ours. And
Don't throw Erica under the bus.
No,
She's
no,
not here
I
to
was.
defend
I'm not. No,
herself.
no. But she like hurt herself, and like she had like a family event the next day. So she was like, it was like
Spousal.
fantastic.
Oh, did she fall down the stairs, Alex? Is that why she had a black eye at the family
She was
event?
giving a friend of ours like a piggyback ride or something. They're drunk
Sure.
in college.
You just
Yeah,
that's what she has to tell everyone.
yeah. And then she had to wear
fell.
like the giant like
I love
sunglasses.
Alex. You're so innocent that either you're just completely ignoring it or you're not understanding that I'm accusing you of spousal abuse.
I thought that at the time.
You just
Well,
completely
we
ignored
weren't married, so it was just like I was like
domestic abuse.
Johnny dirtbag boyfriend.
That's you. You're
That meme, like that dirtbag guy. You know, you remember the teenager dirtbag meme? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of like who was it? Was like the hillbilly who would be like never mind. I can't say any of those names. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of Christmas, I think you and I are in agreement, possibly, that Christmas is definitely the best holiday by far.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So we both agree that Christmas is the best holiday. But what do you think is the worst holiday?
Arbor Day.
That's not a holiday. Arbor Day? What's Arbor Day? Is that just like go and look at
Should you
trees?
celebrate like tree?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to like. I think the gimmick is you're supposed to plant. Well, can it be a made-up holiday?
What, like Valentine's Day?
Sweetest Day.
Oh, well, Sweetest Day is just like Valentine's Day too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like.
They're all made up holidays.
I know they're all made up holidays.
But okay, so like a non an inconsequential holiday. But no, we're gonna do hard
well,
mode.
I don't want to get us flagged on YouTube here.
We're gonna do hard mode. So yeah, be good. I'll put it this way: what's your least
maybe
favorite?
New Year's Day,
buddy? I consider New Year's Eve plus day to be the
like
worst
a single thing.
Yeah, it is the worst.
But after New Year's Eve is over with, you're just like, oh, it's just a day for a hangover. It's kind of like
it's even
the day after the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I feel like it's even worse than that because New Year's Eve is always a disappointment because it's supposed to be like this really fun party
end of the year
event. And it never, in my experience, it never is. Whether I'm single, in a short-term relationship, long-term relationship, every freaking New Year's Eve has been awful. So New Year's Eve sucks.
I would say probably the only good New Year's Eve was probably the one like 99 into 2000, just because of also the fanfare that came around it. With like the change of the millennium and stuff like that. But at the same time,
what were you?
Like you were saying,
where were you for 99?
I think I was at my parents' house because it was winter break.
Exactly.
From college.
Yeah. No, we were in high school.
The celebrations.
Hey, crazy! You were in high school. You dummy.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
you're right. What was that? That was
It was either junior or sophomore. 99 to 2000. So it would have been junior year.
Junior year. Yeah. Oh shit! I'm sorry. Anyways, I was still fucking home.
Yeah,
I was still home.
I like now we're paranoid about swearing. That's what I mean.
Susan's gonna come after me.
99 2000 I don't consider to be a very good New Year's Eve either because I'm just sitting there. Some of our classmates were having fun. You and I were sitting with our parents, drinking sparkling grape juice.
Sparkling.
My mom
grape
was
juice.
like, "Do you want a little bit of champagne?" And I was like, "Yes, mom." It's like,
but you gotta mix it with that sparkling apple juice.
Yeah, it's like little baby Pepe sitting there getting like, "Mammy, can I have some of the sparkling champagne too?"
Probably having you were probably also having shrimp cocktail, maybe some cocktail little smoky weenies and barbecue sauce. The cheese ball with the sliced
cheese ball
almonds.
Yeah, cheese ball, yes, but mostly like pigs in a blanket.
Mm-hmm.
Baby quiche,
little hors d'oeuvre things.
Yeah.
Mini quiche,
Baby
yes,
quiche.
mini quiches.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm excited. I want some. We don't have any at home.
But so that's my point: is that no New Year's Eve has been particularly noteworthy,
right?
Except for bad reasons for me. And then you get to New Year's Day, and New Year's Day is just complete existential meltdown. It's like, what am I doing with my life? How have I failed so profoundly? Should I kill myself today?
Here's me.
Like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
It's the first day of the new year, and I've already decided to quit my New Year's resolution because it's not worth it.
Yeah, I promised myself I wouldn't start drinking at 9 a.m., and here I am.
Yeah. Although for me now, since it's Zachary's birthday, it has some sort of a meaning.
Oh yeah,
like the day itself, but like the holiday around it, because there's no because you have Christmas Eve and then you have Christmas Day,
right?
But then like the 26th, I think, what is it, like Boxing Day or something?
That's
something like that.
I thought that was after Thanksgiving for the Canadians. I don't know. Hey Google.
Okay.
When is Boxing Day?
Boxing Day will be on Monday, December 26th.
You were right. Good job. I like the delay on OBS because I get to see you do that move twice.
I think there is something after, or is it whenever Canadian Thanksgiving is?
I don't fucking know. Anyway, okay. But yeah, you have something to look forward to on New Year's Day, and you'll always have that, and so will Zachary.
Yeah,
Nicholas will have existential dread to look forward to because he'll be thinking about like, oh, my brother's 3 years younger than me, and he's
good math there, buddy.
Thank you. And he's so like when Nicholas is 21, he'll be like, wow, my little brother's already 18, and then he'll be wondering where his life has gone. Yeah. I'll be dead. probably.
Well, you should still be
I
alive.
don't know.
That's what he'll be 21.
16 years from now?
He'll be 5 next year.
Not going to make that far.
No, you can make that.
Thanks, Alex.
I mean, he'll be like, hey, Dad, Uncle Brendan didn't send me like a check this year. I'm like,
Oh, no, it'll more be like Uncle Brendan's passed out on the couch again.
pass out again. But he's getting a bicycle next year, so because
Don't spoil the surprise. He might hear you.
He doesn't watch this thing.
He doesn't know, but he might hear you in his room. He's like,
No, he passed out tonight. I was reading to him Berenstain Bears Christmas, and like halfway through the book, he was just like,
I wish you would have read me, Berenstain.
You should do this every night, Nicholas.
I was intending to take a nap after work today so that I would be all like gung ho for this, but instead I was pulled into conversations, and I felt rude being like, "Can everyone leave my office because I want to sleep?"
Yeah.
So I just
how was people? Because I was surprised you guys had your party on a Thursday night and you went like bar hopping and stuff. Was it pretty brutal this morning? Like people just be like
yesterday morning, yeah.
We
went
okay.
on Wednesday.
It was Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I mean, like, well, the illustrious Liz called in sick. I like how Liz is just kind of an idea on this show. I just refer to her and
She's just this entity.
Yeah, this entity. It's like, yeah, Liz did this. Liz was passed out.
She was wearing non-slip shoes on a carpet.
Liz fell on the ground or fell on the floor trying to bowl. Anyway, so yeah, like especially the other part of New Year's Day is that you end up generally work begins the next day too.
Yeah, usually depending on how it is, there's like maybe like they give you like if one day is like on a weekend or something, you might do something depending on how your job works.
Only if it ends on like if New Year's Day is on a Friday, then you'll have the weekend to recuperate. But if this year it's on Sunday, so it's like right back to work on Monday, and that's just so terrible and depressing.
Yeah,
but
also what kind of is it's the end of the calendar year, but it's also the end of that fun second half final quarter of the year where you just have big holiday this month, big holiday in November.
You get the
Christmas in December.
Well, the trip, even Halloween, starting in October, you've got
it starts with Halloween.
This triple kill,
and then New Year's is like the penultimate ending, and then you go boom right into the dread of January wintertime.
January, February,
Hungover.
March, if you're in any place that gets cold or is snowy, it's January and February are where like the brutality begins. Yeah, there's a major topic that we have neglected to discuss
for many eons.
That you, for 4 seasons, that you have pushed to the forefront this episode. Do you want to discuss the Enterprise versus a Star Destroyer?
Yes. Ultimate discussion, like the ultimate what if scenario that's always plagued the internet since time immemorial. Since Adam and Eve has always been, and you can agree. I don't know how we got into this. You said something, or I said something. I don't know.
It was on 4channel.
It was on 4channel. 4channel.
Not 4chan. It was on 4channel.
4channel.
Yeah, thank you.
About who would win a fight, the Enterprise or a Star Destroyer?
Which Enterprise are we talking about?
Here's the thing. Whenever they discuss it, I feel like it always tends to be the Enterprise D, NCC 1701D.
Is that TNG?
Yes, the TNG one. Because the Enterprise C was captained by Rachel Garrett. The Enterprise B was lost in the rift with Captain Kirk. The Enterprise A was the ship that Kirk received in Star Trek 5, and then his original ship was a Constitution class refit or something in the first several movies and stuff like that. But whenever they talk about the actual Enterprise, they always say it's like the Enterprise D, like the Picard Next Generation one, the TNG one. I think it's because that's kind of when a lot of people got more hooked into Star Trek is a big thing.
It's also it kind of looks the most modern, and before it starts going too contemporary. So because even thinking
you can't
of
do the
like
Enterprise
Generations or not generate whatever they
Contact.
killed, is that when they get rid of because the Enterprise D gets lost in Generations.
Yes.
So then the E is in what's the
First Contact.
Is that First Contact?
Yeah, First Contact,
Okay.
and then that's also then in like Insurrection and Shinzon.
Doesn't it
whatever.
get destroyed in that one too?
It survives.
Interesting.
It gets badly damaged in Nemesis, but
Gotcha.
it survives and
Okay.
stuff.
So Enterprise D.
Yeah, so it's Enterprise D because you can't go any further than that because it's basically like trying to race like a Model T forward against a McLaren. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, guys.
And then the thing with the Star Destroyer is that I'm never quite certain which one it is, but there's two versions of that. There's the Victory class Star Destroyer, and then there's the Imperial class Star Destroyer.
All right, I'm gonna switch over to a browser so that I can. So I'm gonna bring up.
And I have brought books.
Oh my God, this is a horrible mistake.
No. This is fantastic.
Check the timestamps to skip past Enterprise versus Star Destroyer. If you really don't.
So I've actually had to. I've now left. They've kicked me out of Disneyland right now. So I have two books.
Oh, you did. You turned off your background.
These are heretical writings. This is like the Book of Thomas.
Interesting.
Which was George said it's not real, but he took my money anyways, like a good man. So I am an income class. So I've got stuff here for the Imperial class Star Destroyer, including stuff like that. And what's interesting about the Imperial one is that it's larger than the Victory class, and also has this fascinating observation bridge that extends outward. And then there's a Victory class, if I can pull that up here, which I believe this was the one that was hunting down the Tantive 4 in A New Hope. And it's a little bit older, so it's kind of... a lot of the things happen to be with the actual dimensions of the ships themselves and also what they can carry and stuff. And it'll be interesting to find out about that they're not too different from the Enterprise in terms of their missions in a sense. And then the other book I have is the Hayes Guide to the USS Enterprise. And what's nice about this one, it has all of the Enterprises all the way through the Enterprise E. But for our purposes, we'll be going through the Enterprise D, which actually makes up the largest segment of this entire book, including a very beautiful cross-section here. And then here's a very nice picture of Picard and Q discussing foreskins.
My wife and I had a little disagreement. I am circumcised, aren't I? Because she says I'm not. And he goes, not.
Shut up, Alex. That actually made me think of, I don't remember that in a Star Trek episode.
Also, I'd like to say that I think these Borg were the best Borg.
TNG? Well, every version of anything is better in TNG.
Yeah, because the problem was that, I just didn't like the way that they ended up creating the Borg later on, where they just look like they're decaying zombies. And I know that, you can make the argument that they're kind of like zombies, but I feel like the TNG ones were more akin to, bees. There's drones, workers and stuff like that. They just have a queen and they have a hive mind, as opposed to these, where it's just it seemed like they assimilate more. Because what was really creepy and cool is that when Worf and Riker got onto that, onto the cube, and the first time they come across the Borg and they see that nursery, and there's the newborns that have the implants, so it looks like the Borg themselves reproduce on their own without having to have any type of extraneous, need to go and assimilate other people just to join their collective and stuff. So yeah, there's so you've got the various types of Star Destroyers. I see you've got the you've also got the Super Star Destroyer, and then also the clone Palpatine's. I think it's Eclipse class Star Destroyer that actually had a Death Star super laser built into
this one.
Below the Super Star Destroyer. Yeah, that one. Oh. Yeah, that big thing down there. Yeah, it's actually, but the Super Star, the Turbo or whatever Super Star Destroyer. I'm sorry, Death Star laser on that one only was like I would think a third power. So, yeah. Anyways, so the biggest thing with them is that the Imperial Star Destroyer's main purpose is pretty much an intimidation device that can be sent from one sector to another, and it has the capabilities of basically running a ground offensive by itself. The Enterprise D's main focus is, exploration and science and stuff like that, so it's able to do a lot of these things on its own too. So I think in terms of their mission purposes, like, the Star Destroyer is really meant more for ground combat as opposed to like
ground combat
space. Yeah, based upon its troop sizes, because basically the Imperial class Star Destroyer
is not even seen in the atmosphere until Rogue One.
I know, but basically what it contains is it has 20 AT-AT walkers, 30 AT-ST scout ships, 9,700 ground troops.
So it's a transport ship.
Right. It also has prefabricated garrison bases that can accommodate 800 ground troops.
But didn't you already say that this book is apocryphal?
This is the best we have, my friend.
I mean, the movies trump that. I just want to say that exclusively in the films, it was a intergalactic assault ship that was seen exclusively doing space battles. Aside from when they did transport troops to Hoth.
Yes. And Endor.
So.
Yes. But I'm just saying that, like, if we're going to be going full internet, I had two books that are even more ridiculous than these. I had
this
the
conversation
TNG
reminds
manual.
me of all of my intimate relationships, where if I leave, it doesn't make any difference if I'm in the room or not. Like, you don't really need me to get this conversation done.
And then I had a second Star Wars book, which was it was called the Dark Side Source Book from West End Games for the Star Wars RPG, and that had such ridiculous, like, detailed information about that. It included scuba, like, was it Sea Troopers, I think they were called, which were like the underwater stormtroopers. They had zero-G stormtroopers that had like power armor and stuff. It was amazing. The Juggernaut was in that. Remember the Juggernaut from Revenge of the Sith? That's on Kashyyyk. Mm-hmm. That was in that too. So they kind of pulled information from that. Anyways, so when you honestly take a look at the mobility of the ships in ship-to-ship combat, the Star Destroyer looks very big and cumbersome and kind of just plods along and stuff like that. However, the Enterprise, I feel like it has far more agility in terms of being able to fly around and such like that. So the picture we have right here on screen that Brendan is showing shows the relative size of, the various ships. So while the Star Destroyer, it has weapons, but the way that they're designed is kind of like a starboard, like, full-sided barrage of guns, very similar to the old naval style of combat. The Enterprise, on the other hand, it has multi-directional phaser banks, which I believe are Type 10s. Are they Type 10s? They might be Top 10s.
Jamie, can you pull that up? They Type 10 phasers.
Could you also bring this?
It's funny because your analysis of this is not at all what I was expecting it to be. You're going in a very otaku direction.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the obvious thing. what is this? Type D. Type 10 phaser arrays. It has 12 Type 10 phaser arrays, 3 torpedo launchers, and around 250 torpedoes. So, while it might not seem like it has a massive amount of, ship weapons such as the Star Destroyer, its weapons are capable of being fired no matter what direction the ship is facing its opponent, as opposed to like the Star Destroyer, which, as far as we know, really has nothing that we can tell for aft weaponry.
They have those cannons, pew 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 pew,
like the turbo lasers,
like those turrets.
The turbo, yeah. Well, on the picture there of the Star Destroyer there, those are pretty much just mounted on starboard or port side.
Seems impractical.
Yeah, so it does have a limited range, and it's kind of like it's going to have to use starboard or basically broadside shooting. It does have smaller lasers, quad lasers, and things such as that. What does it have? Turbo lasers. I wish I had the other book because that one definitely had a lot more detailed stuff. But it does also have concussion missile launchers too, which has its own like torpedoes and things such as that. I would imagine then with the shield systems, like the deflectors that we've seen pretty much in Star Wars, like they're kind of not really that effective. Like I feel like while the TIE fighters and the X-Wings, you can definitely tell, okay, TIE fighters don't have any onboard shields. Like a lot Rebel Alliance ones do. They still kind of go down relatively easy, but I believe that deflector shields in that universe tend to be more of like where if it tries to stray a shot off of the actual hull rather than trying to absorb it.
X-Wings have deflectors?
Oh. Yes, they have shield systems. TIE fighters do not. They don't have
Empire,
that, and they also do
cheaped
not
out
have...
on the TIE
yes.
fighters.
Yeah,
Just like
that's
Darth Vader's
why...
outfit.
Yeah, no,
Budget
well,
cuts,
basically...
baby.
That's why TIE pilots have the self-insulated environmental suits, because there's no life support systems on their ships.
The fuck?
No, that's why they're so cheap. It is. They're almost like kamikaze pilots.
There is nothing. Well, I guess I don't know that I would get that information from watching the films. Like I don't like the X-Wings blow up all the time.
So the shields themselves, I think they're more of a deflective type of thing instead of like, because if you were hit them straight on, they would probably be hit. But if it's kind of like, if you're going pew pew pew, just like kind of trying to like, try to gauge where they're going and stuff, it'll probably do a much better job in terms of trying to like negate anything that's coming close to it and such like that. But then with the Enterprise, with like basically the shields in the Star Trek universe, the shields are able to go and take a direct hit and try to, absorb as much of it as possible before being able to be recharged. You always hear Worf saying like, direct hit shields down to, 60%, second hit is like down to 40% and such like that. So it can take hits but it'll take time for it to recharge and such like that. Also, the other thing in terms of the weapons, like in the Star Trek universe, they're a lot more direct damage. Like you can be like, oh, we're going to target their engine systems or their weapon systems. As opposed to here, where it's just kind of like just belt as much stuff as
it's
you
like
can.
It's more World War II inspired of just spray and
right. Mm-hmm. Right. So then also in terms of like the speed, like one uses hyperspace, basically jump engines as opposed to the warp engines here, where with the Star Trek universe, it's basically like point A to point B. Like you have the hyperspace calculation machines, like, we have to calculate the hyperspace jump so that when we're going through, we have to try to figure out we don't, hit an asteroid or a planet or something, And then with Star Trek, my understanding of how warp drive is that you basically get from point A to point B by, if you imagine like a flat plane and you have your ship and there's a tablecloth. So you just basically try to like kind of roll back the tablecloth and like bunch it up and such like that until you get to where you're at. That's what I've heard, like that's kind of how their, faster than light travel works. So with that one, I think it's kind of a toss up in terms of who's better than that and such. And then, like I was saying, the Star Destroyer, what it does have in its favor is that if it's going to go into combat, it is a combat purposed ship. The Enterprise D, pretty much all Federation ships, prior to like, I would say Deep Space Nine, were meant as scientific, exploratory, mission-based vessels. They did have the capability of fighting if need be, but not to that extent of, of a Star Destroyer. Once you get to something such as the USS Defiant or, an Akira class ship, something when they start having to fight somebody like the Borg or the Dominion, they're still kind of, we have families, we have medical labs on here, we have this hydroponics bay where Keiko grows her tomatoes and cucumbers and such like that. So there's, there is a priority that, if they're going to go into combat with a ship such as a Star Destroyer, the captain at the helm, like Picard in the sense, has to be careful because I got families here, Guinan's having a Christmas party in 10 forward. So that's kind of the thing. And then along with that, if they were to go into combat, I think the Star Destroyer would have the leg up in terms of additional auxiliary vessels, being the TIE fighters. It has Lambda class ships. It's got skip ray gunboats. The Enterprise, as far as I know, it only has those shuttles. And there are some fighters that they have.
What do they call the shuttles? I
think they're
just. I thought there was a pet name for them. Is it just? Okay, never mind.
I think it's just a shuttle.
Okay,
it's just shuttles. I think.
Okay.
I do know that. What is that? There's that one episode with Tom Paris shows up, like the actor. He's like a classmate of Wesley Crusher's, and they're like training to become like fighter pilots. Like the Federation does have this weird like space starfighter type of thing, but not the kind that's similar to this. Like I think the TIE fighters would be able to fly circles around their things if they used them, but these guys, like the Enterprise, would only have the ability to use their shuttle transports, which they're kind of like that. They're like personnel transports in a sense. So I think that in the end, it would probably just end up being a standstill between the two. Right. I think it's kind of hard to be. It's because you're using technology from two different universes.
All of this to get to it's going to be a standstill.
Like Freddy versus Jason. Yeah. I think that the Enterprise can get it's able to pinpoint where it needs to hit things, but since there's so many different systems on the Star Destroyer is able to just
Alex,
kind of keep. Yes.
Are you forgetting Return of the Jedi? And how a Star Destroyer got taken down by an A-Wing and an X-Wing?
Well, that was a Super Star Destroyer.
But it's the same.
You just take out the bridge.
Well, they take out the shield generator. The X-Wing blows up the shield generator, and then you just kamikaze into the bridge. And I think that
you could do that on the Enterprise too, because the bridge is at the very top center of
because the field.
Oh, because stormtroopers are running the.
No. Because the shields on Enterprise are much more efficient than the shields on the Star Destroyer. I'm saying that because of how much smaller the Enterprise is and how much more precision based it is, that's like a simple, and because also photon torpedoes, and they'll just have lasers on the Star Destroyer. Like, to me, I thought this would be a much
concussion missile launchers.
Yeah, but who cares? That's not going to get through the shields either. Lasers and concussion missiles are no match for the Enterprise's shields. There's nothing on. There's no weapons on on the Star Destroyer that we've ever seen demonstrated.
Okay.
And maybe in your book they have photon torpedoes because they do exist.
They just say concussion
They do, because
missiles.
photon torpedoes exist in Star Wars too. So my point is that laser technology is no match for the shields on. We've seen them make fun of other ships that only had lasers.
Yeah, the Talarians?
Yeah.
Was
They
that the
were
one,
just like-
that was the one where they had the human boy that was like being raised as
I
their
think
own?
it was who were like the we're smart. We can
Was it the
something like that, because they were like
Something like
what's his name is
Geordi.
Geordi or Worf
Geordi.
is like, they just have outdated laser weapons. They're no match for us. And then it's like, okay, it's cool. I'm just saying, I thought this was going to be a very quick conversation of like the Enterprise clearly wins very quickly in a battle against a Star Destroyer. But you went through like every kind of.
Well, I was
maybe
trying to
I'm
make
not.
more
Maybe
of a,
you have a much more thoughtful approach to this.
I was trying to compare like what are like every single, like not every single, but like major categories, like, you know, offensive, defensive, mobility, speed, things like that. Like I think also like mission purpose and such like that.
My position in terms of Enterprise versus Star Destroyer is that God Mode Evangelion wins.
Yeah. Well, I also totally forgot that the Enterprise could just beam everybody off the Star Destroyer into the space. So
yeah, I forgot that too. That hurt. I almost
would be
sprayed
like-
bourbon out of my nose. And it's not.
Worf would be like, Captain, we also inadvertently happened to beam out Mr. Crusher. Picard would be
no.
like,
No, it'd be even funnier if Worf
set course for
Worf
Risa.
was like, we have
Warp
accidentally
7.
beamed Will Wheaton into the void of space, and Picard would be like, who's Will Wheaton?
Who's Will Wheaton? Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton.
So all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I think the Enterprise wins handily. Not to
Enterprise.
mention, like,
Okay.
if you get Q on your side, or even
Yeah, now we're
Guinan,
bringing like the whole Star Trek
I'm just
universe into
thinking Star Trek TNG. You know,
that. Yeah.
it's just
Well,
I'm
I
thinking
told you earlier, I want the Borg cube to just come out of
you got a bunch.
transwarp outside of the Death Star and just start getting on it.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that would be so amazing. I mean, they made that Stormtrooper zombie comic, which is kind of cool. But if you do it with Borg,
Yeah, see, teleporters really also. Yeah, you're right. Teleportation changes the game entirely. They just be once
Yeah.
they don't even have to worry about blowing up the bridge. Once they take out that field generator, that's it. They're just gonna they're just gonna be like, just beam them out. Hell, just beam them to the bridge, and you'll have just take them hostage with phasers. You don't even have to kill everyone.
right?
Hey, that's it. End of story.
Oh, all right. So I guess that conversation's coming. I mean, the debate's
It's over with. So, Alex, I understand you have another set of questions you would like to go through. This is like where Alex and I get to know each other.
I do.
And then the audience gets to know us. It's a Christmas miracle.
Yeah.
Little
Okay.
baby Jesus
So
is
our
smiling.
question. Hi. Question is: do you believe in extraterrestrial life? Elaborate on why or why not. We're continuing with the science fiction.
I will.
theme.
Yeah, that's
or
perfect.
maybe not science fiction.
Perfect. It's perfect coming off the tails of Star Trek. I do. Well, I have conflict. I am conflicted on this question because on one hand, I there's a lot of people who say because the universe is so incredibly incomprehensibly large that it's impossible that there isn't other sentient life somewhere in the universe. And on paper and just like logically, that makes a whole lot of sense to me. But at the same time, I also find that I would not be completely shocked by the reality being that the chances of life forms in the sense that we exist are so incredibly unlikely to have actually evolved that the horrifying truth is that no, there isn't anything else. And part of the reason why I believe that is because throughout history, in the entirety of our human history, we have always come up with grandiose stories of how the universe works and tried to fill in the blanks by using religion or mythology to explain things. And then as life continues, we discover that the reality is that while things are very wonderful in their own way, they are not nearly as exciting as the stories that we've told ourselves. They are interesting in a very practical way, whether it's the sun rising and the earth revolving around the sun and stars and planets and galaxies and all that. Like, it's all very interesting and cool, but it's not necessarily cosmic beings creating things. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as grandiose as some of the stories would be. So because of that, I would not be shocked to find out that we are just a cosmic joke and that it is just humans out there. So my answer to the question is, I believe in the concept, but I actually don't necessarily... I'm hesitant to say that I actually believe that there are extraterrestrials. And I definitely do not believe that extraterrestrials have ever been to this planet. I do not believe it at all.
Yeah.
But that's me. Alex?
I do think there is some sort of extraterrestrial life someplace else on another planet or planetary body of some sort. Similar to you, I'm not certain if that particular life is as biologically advanced or complex as ours. It could be something like you would find while playing a session of like No Man's Sky or Spore, like where it could be just like some sort of like native, fauna or flora of some sort on some distant planet someplace. And considering, when you get into our solar system and then our galaxy and then the universes and whatever contains, X amount of universes within it and then whatever greater thing. So there is a possibility just from sheer, I guess, running of numbers and stuff that there could be something out there. There is also a chance that maybe there is some sort of species or race that is similar to us or more advanced than us biologically, but they haven't been able to visit or travel this far because of their technology advancements and such. Because we always think that we would only be like, oh, there's little green men that come on flying saucers. Like, well, why do the little green men not wear clothes, but they're able to construct a disc that can go from point A to point B in a blink of an eye?
The reality also might simply be that the physics laws of nature just really make it impossible ultimately to go that far because everything is really far away from each other. So there could easily be Earth 2, multitude of light years away, but there's no possible. There is isn't that Einstein? There's
no conceivable way of doing it.
You can't exceed the speed of light. Isn't that Einstein?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of those like astrophysicists, whenever you hear them talking, and they kind of say they've kind of come to a general consensus almost, it seems, where you can't travel faster than the speed of light. You can't really travel through time. It's not really capable of doing this or that based upon the laws of, physics and such like that. It sort of has boiled it down to us just being the only thing out there in existence. And in that sense, it's kind of boring. It's kind of sad, a little disappointing. So we'll just kind of continue writing, science fiction stories about what could possibly be if we had the ability to do that. Now, there is a possibility years down the road, long after you and I are both just, dust in the wind, where...
That's not going to happen. I'm going to be a robot. I'm living forever.
oh gosh, like a Millennial Man.
Yeah.
That movie should have ended like at least they needed to cut like a good 3 hours off that film.
It will only take us 8 years to get to Saturn.
In cryostasis.
No. I mean, we'd have to.
Well, you would have to be in. I mean, you could be awake for 8 years.
Is cryostasis a real thing?
Well, they still have people frozen.
Yeah, so no.
From like the night.
So the answer is no.
No, you'd probably have to have like a generational ship of some sort, kind of like the ship from WALL-E.
I was just curious to see.
Yeah,
but anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but generally, yeah, I think there's something out there just for, you know, if you flip a coin X amount of times.
Do we really? I'm with controversial commentator. I don't know that I want to be in contact. Oh no, that wasn't him. That was what's his name? Robot voice guy.
Oh, Stephen Hawking.
He was the one who was like, we don't like stop trying to contact extraterrestrials. Like, we don't want them to notice us. We want to stay under the radar and just do our own thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, think of like
Cthulhu. He knows he's a real thing.
I'm okay being alone. I don't know. I'm fine with science fiction, but in reality, I don't know that I would feel any larger or smaller to know that there was nothing else. That we send magic probes that warp through time and space to all ends of the universe, and none of them find anything. I'd be like, okay, cool, great. Then we don't have to worry about anybody else. It's like going to a movie theater, and you're alone in the movie theater. And it's 5 minutes to showtime. And there's this stress of who's going to show up between now and when the movie starts. And then the movie starts and nobody else comes into the theater. And you're just like, I get the entire movie theater to myself.
I can take my
pants off and masturbate at least twice.
At this Pixar
film, at long last. And same thing, like it's like, and then like finding like extraterrestrials, be like, ugh. It's like some family comes in, sits in front of you. I can't masturbate like this.
I'll still take my pants off, but I'm not going to masturbate.
But then like hostile aliens are when they come and it's an empty movie theater and they just come sit directly next to you. Pants staying on.
A half dozen Klingons show up.
Right.
There's no.
I always did. I mean, it is hilarious that the Klingons ever achieved warp technology. It's like that culture doesn't really seem like it was made to do that.
It's also funny because there's like a scientist cast in Klingon society.
Completely disrespected.
Like, scientist. Yeah. And I just feel like they're kind of like spies that work at like, I don't know, big tech industries on Romulus, and they're just kind of like, hey, we're gonna kind of steal this technology. You know, they do that stuff like they did for Troy. Right. Where they turned her into a Romulan. Mm-hmm. They do it for their guys. That would be a great series.
No more Star Trek. You know, moving on.
If Paramount wanted money.
Moving on. We've already had Star Trek talk.
Next question number 2. What is a relationship deal breaker for you?
Wanton farting. Definitely be a deal breaker for me. Like just kind of like aggressive, hostile farting. No. I'm not kidding. I'm trying to think of something.
What if she would put them in jars and sell them?
No, okay. Whoring her farts is also a deal breaker.
Whoring her farts. I've never heard somebody say whoring the fart.
I don't know. I think that at my current age and my past experience, I would say the biggest thing that I've learned that I will not tolerate anymore is like kind of casual disregard for things that that hurt me. Like, I don't know. I've just had a couple of relationships where the person like really knew how to get under I don't say get under my skin because that just sounds like irritation.
Push your
well, just like
buttons.
really knew how to provoke me, and and then like kind of had this casual disregard to like how things made me feel, and now it's like I know very early on what that warning sign is. But really, the most important thing to me is that she not fart in front of me.
In front of you.
Well, I mean, I understand that people need to fart,
Right,
but
yeah,
like
no,
I don't.
no, I
I'm not
understand
going to sit on a couch with a girl, and we've talked about this. But I'm not going to sit on a couch watching Frasier, and then she just randomly
especially now.
no casual farting. Period.
It smells like greasy barbecue.
You don't have to say that.
Sorry.
Especially since you reminded me, I just had Smoke Daddy the other day, and like my fingers smelled like barbecue sauce the entire.
What did you order there?
I got the brisket sandwich. Big brisket guy.
Did you get a 40 with it?
No, I did not. You're thinking of Fat Willie's, but Smoke Daddy is a different place. But just so you know,
Oh, Smoke
that's
Daddy.
why, yeah.
Okay. I haven't
Smoke
been to
Daddy
Smoke
is gone. Sorry.
Smoke
Not
Daddy's
Smoke
gone.
Daddy. Big Fat Willie's is gone. It closed.
Really? By the movie theater?
It closed.
Where are gonna get my 40s from then?
We're gonna have to get Smoke Daddy and pick up
7-Eleven?
the 40 at 7. I don't even see 40s anymore at normal liquor stores.
I see them. Yeah, they have like tall
The
boys, but they're
24,
not like the 40
you have to get
size.
two 24s.
Yeah. But I see them primarily at gas stations.
Good, for the road.
Maybe convenience stores too would have them.
So,
So my deal breaker would probably be somebody who is unhygienic. And it kind of goes a little bit with like your whole like maybe farting thing, but not quite that, but it would be like somebody who like doesn't really bathe or care about like their like personal appearance.
okay, yeah, fair enough. That's a good one.
One of those people who's kind of like one of those weirdos that says like, I don't use like soap or shampoo when I wash
like
myself.
Jake
And you're
Gyllenhaal.
like, then you just, yeah, it's just like, so you're just wetting down the grease, natural oils of your hair. And it's like, eventually there's going to be a scent. It's going to have this weird, wet post-shower scent. Like there are people like even like they don't use like body deodorant, and it's like, well, you're gonna smell eventually, especially come summertime.
I knew somebody who used that deodorant crystal. Have you ever seen this? Let me see if I can find it. It was like this pink deodorant crystal.
Like an actual like crystal, like rock.
Yes. Yep. Here we go.
Mm.
Yeah. Crystal body deodorant. It's like it's not quite a rock. Like it does you have to like you wet it and then it's almost like a salt thing. So you wet it a little bit and it does gradually deplete, but the point I am making is that this does not work. And
it sounds very new agey.
It is. He used it. I had bought one of these once out of curiosity, and then promptly realized it was a total freaking disaster. Crock-a-poo.
Yeah.
And
because it seems like if it's like,
but
it's
it's
a
like
solid thing and you wet it, it's more like you're just scraping stuff off.
it leaves a residue, but it didn't do anything. And like you'd be next to this guy, and it'd be like, oh man. All right, so so Alex, thank you for your questions. It's always good to
you're welcome.
good to get to know you better.
And you also.
Speaking of getting to know somebody, Australia scientists find clitorises, or excuse me, I was gonna not say that word because I don't know what the rules are for YouTube anymore.
Jelly beans,
Yes, jelly beans.
magic buttons.
Australia scientists find anatomy on female sneks.
Well, they can if they're watching
Look at
if they're
this
watching the video, they'll see the word.
This snake looks like it just had its anatomy discovered. It's like dear Lord. You could have just asked.
It's like, I'm not in a good mood.
I do not consent.
Looks like the green
I do not
M&M.
consent. That snake looks like
Do not
looks
redeem.
like a deer in headlights. This is in the BBC. Of course, the BBC would find.
The BBC.
Never mind. Fill in the blanks on that one. Scientists have discovered that snakes do have anatomy, shattering a long-held assumption that females didn't have anatomy organ. Research published Wednesday provides the first proper anatomical descriptions of female snake parts. Snake parts.
Lady
No,
snake
it says
bits?
snake penises. Hemipennies have been studied for decades.
Henny pennies?
Come on, bros. Mrs. Hemipenny.
Henny penny.
Have been studied for decades. They are forked and some are embedded with spikes.
Whoa.
Based.
Oh, wait, well, they are Australian snakes, so it
I'd
I'd expect
this is
nothing
all
less.
Snakes.
Oh, all snakes. Oh. Don't cats have the same thing? Like male cats have barbs?
Yep. Barbed wire.
Okay.
That's what I named my next cat. But the female sex organ had been overlooked in comparison, researchers said. That's because female snakes didn't look at it in a mirror. If they're not willing to do their own work and understand their own bodies, then it's like you're waiting for doctors to do it for you.
Apparently
That's what happened to women. Yeah. It wasn't contacted culturegym.com. But the female sex, it wasn't necessarily that it was elusive. Rather, scientists weren't really looking for it. Are we talking about clitorises or snake orgasms?
Both.
There was a combination of female genitalia being taboo. Scientists...
For snakes?
Yeah, right? That's kind of...
That's weird.
This is weird because nobody had a problem understanding dog vaginas.
Yeah, or anything's vaginas. But now when it came to snakes, they're just like, oh, this was off topic.
That's where...
It was verboten.
I mean, the snake vaginas where Eve came from, right?
Was it because of like, were they like told not to by like the snake mafia or something like that? Like what's...
Stop it right now.
Cease and desist.
Nice. Well done.
We're speaking parcel.
But scientists not being able to find it, and people accepting the mislabeling of intersex snakes, said Megan Falwell, a doctoral candidate and lead researcher. Her co-authored paper published in the Proceedings of the Royal Society B Journal this week locates the anatomy in a female snake tail.
Okay, well, I mean, it's pretty much just a head and a tail. There's really no.
It's a series of tubes. Snakes have two individual parts, hemiclitories, separated by tissue and hidden on the underside of the tail. The double. I mean, like that's. Frankly, if you gave me a diagram of if you gave me a diagram of a snake and were like, point to the clit, I'd be like, out there? Like it's
back end.
It's
over
literally
here.
exactly where you would expect to find it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be. I'd imagine it wouldn't be right behind the head portion of like the torso or the tube. I guess we'll say tube.
The head portion of the torso.
Yeah, because isn't it like you have the head? Because they don't have like a thorax or an abdomen. It's just the head and then the snaky stuff.
Right.
You know. So, but you would just think like, well, it's not going to be located right like the part of the the part of the tube.
What are you talking about?
It's
It's not in the
like,
back. Okay, Deep Throat wasn't a documentary. It's not in the back of the throat.
No, underneath in the belly section.
Yeah, towards
That's
the
what
tail.
I'm saying. Yeah, towards the
where you
tail, but it's like they're like acting like, oh, well,
I see what you mean. Okay, you were being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were like I was
Yeah.
because you said like you like finding it behind the head, and I was thinking, Alex, no, it's not behind the head.
No. Exactly, it's in the back.
Yes, it's in the back port. It's where the rest of it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know much about snake anatomy, but if I had to venture a guess.
Just avoid
Also,
the head.
frankly, I don't know anything about I don't even know what a clitoris is. So, so I don't even know what we're talking about. Typical man thinking he knows where it is.
I equate it similar to
The snake is
Excalibur
very
and,
offended now.
and unicorns.
Miss Falwell said she started looking for it because the literature she had read about snakes' female sexual organs, that they just didn't have them or that had been bred out through evolution, just didn't quite sit right with me, she said. Okay, I could have been in a newspaper too. If I had, I didn't realize that was the common idea. You know what I mean? Like, of course. I know it is in a lot of animals, and it doesn't make sense that it wouldn't be in all snakes, she said. I'll just have to have a look to see if this structure is there or if it's just been missed.
I would imagine maybe because they're always crawling on their bellies, and I think over time certain parts of what I guess might have been a snake in the past has kind of gone the way of the dodo.
Yeah, but how is there so much animal anatomy done and explored and
that
mapped
completely
that they're
missed
just
this.
snake's gross. Never mind. Don't care.
I'm also surprised. So is this specific about a specific species of Australian snake, or is it just snakes in general?
All snakes.
Oh, well, they've done. Yeah, well, like you were saying, there's so much animal physiology. You guys just completely missed every single time you did a dissection or something.
Ugh. Okay. This is gross.
I think I've seen that thing on. What was that? Lizard leg?
This one?
Yeah. It's like a growth or something.
I don't want to click on any of this stuff. This is Alex. What the forbidden fruit.
$2.99. Jeez, what's it made out of?
Bronze.
Oh, it's signed.
Bronze.
Oh,
we can get a trio. I know what you guys are getting for Christmas. You and Erica are getting some new decorations.
See, these are the type of things that are purchased by people who also own white leather sofas, and then those marble coffee tables that are held up on each end by a panther.
This looks like what you would find in Theo Epstein's. Or no.
Theo Epstein's island.
Is it Theo Epstein? Who owned the Cubs? Or who was the GM for the Cubs?
Theo
okay, who's the
Epstein.
one who had an island?
What
was
Epstein?
Was it Theo?
I don't. No. It wasn't Theo, but I don't even remember what
Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, I just know him by his last name.
Let me do that again. This is the type of thing that you find in Jeffrey Epstein's home.
Oh yeah, the island with the was it the blue and white striped
Super
temple?
creepy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so congratulations to Ms. Falwell for discovering something that not even male snakes could find.
Yeah, I don't think they were too preoccupied with that either.
Typical men.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking
want to get theirs, and then they're moving on, slithering away. That's why men are snakes. That's where it comes from.
Oh, really?
No, I just made that up.
I thought maybe you had better input on that than I did.
Anyhow, like I said, congratulations to snakes everywhere, and to Ms. Falwell for her pioneering research into snake anatomy. Seriously, the fact that it took this long to figure that out, and she was just kind of reading it, and it was just that doesn't make any sense.
It's let me go over the cage.
It's
get that timber
rattler.
It took
5 minutes to figure this out.
It took 5 minutes. Wow.
Now she's got her name in the paper. When's the last time you've had your name in the paper for finding a clit?
It's usually it's like
Yeah.
police blotters.
So at around this time every year, as Christmas approaches and the year winds down, Alex always has a traditional treat of reading a Christmas story to us. And since it is almost, we've been recording for almost 2 hours, I think it's about time to celebrate that tradition once more. So take it away, Alex.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Brendan. So this year's selection is going to be, I'll get this in a shot. It's called Bear Stays Up for Christmas. And it's written by Karma Wilson and illustrated by Jane Chapman. I'll also try to hold it up like I do for Nicholas. So, I'm terrible with this camera delay. I'll read and then show the picture. So the day before Christmas, snuggled on his floor, Bear sleeps soundly with a great big snore. Dear Bear, get up, Mouse shouts in his ear. We won't let you sleep through Christmas this year. His friends are all there, gathered in his lair, and the bear wakes up. He stands with a stretch and a great big sigh. I hope I can make it. I do want to try. Oh, don't worry, squeaks Mouse. Hare says, it's all right. We'll keep you busy all day and all night. He tries to lie down, but his friends all frown. So the bear stays up. Come on, says Badger, time to follow me. In Pine Grove Glen, there's a fine Christmas tree. So they stomp through the woods and they stomp down the track. They hoist up the tree onto Bear's big back. That's them putting the tree on there. He plods very slow as they trudge through the snow, but the bear stays up. See, they got that snowstorm that they have to contend with now. Back at the cave, Gopher brews mint tea, and Mole pops corn to string up upon the tree. Raven and Wren bake a fresh fruit cake. The friends do their best to keep Bear awake. His shoulders start to stoop and his eyelids droop, but the bear stays up. See, there's Bear. He's kind of falling over the tree. It's a Christmas party at a bowling alley.
Relatable.
Yeah. They hang up their stockings by a warm firelight, and they hum Christmas songs like "Oh Holy Night." They cuddle and sing as they wait for the sun. But soon all the voices fade to just one. A bright star glows while his good friends doze, but the bear stays up. Bear giggles and grins, he works and he raps, he bustles and bakes while everyone naps. He piles up presents under the tree, but who's at the doorway? Bear doesn't see. He toils all night until the sun rises, making his friends their Christmas surprises. Just before dawn, he lets out a yawn, but he still stays up. He's working on the presents. Oh, sorry. He's working on the presents, and then that's who he heard coming through, and everybody else is falling asleep. When Christmas arrives so lovely and white, Bear's friends awake to a glorious sight. Presents and goodies are piled up tall. I stayed up, says Bear, just to share with you all. As his friends shout with glee, Bear lies by the tree, but he still stays up. Wren flies to the stockings and tweets out a cheer. Besides our bear's presents, Santa was here. When all gifts are opened, there's one last surprise. Badger shows Bear a quilt just his size. Sorry. Trying to get into shot here. Okay. That's a very comfy looking quilt. Bear snuggles up tight and mutters, "Good night." Then Bear falls asleep. His friends tidy up and slip from the lair. They whisper, "Sweet dreams, Merry Christmas, dear Bear." The end. Thank you, everybody that's been listening to us with our newest iteration. It's both the audio and the video segment of our podcast. Happy holidays, Happy New Year. This was episode 403, closing out the 2022 year. On behalf of Brendan, this is Alex saying do pobачення until next time.